Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I'm really excited to finally show you my first crochet tutorial. I'm really excited. This is one of the first big patterns I've ever made, and it's been a really interesting process. Learning how to test the patterns and get them just right, and how to do tutorials. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a really good experience for me. I will be demonstrating how to do each step of the way on this fall pumpkin hat. I think it's really great to get a little bit of a head start on projects for each season. So that's why I'm putting this out just a little early, just before fall. Believe me, there's already Halloween stuff and fall stuff in all the stores, so it's not too far off. But if you would like to have a written version of this pattern, the link is down below. It's just a couple dollars. It helps support me. It helps me get more equipment, better equipment. At the end of the video, I will show you my current setup, which is kind of funny. But don't worry, if you don't want to buy it or you can't buy it, don't worry. I go over every single step in this video for you. I go over what you need, and every single round as we go along. I designed this to be pretty easy. This is actually a pretty good pattern for beginners who are maybe slightly more advanced. You just need to know the basic stitches up to double crochet. For any of the other more complicated stitches than this, which there aren't that many, I go over them. This is also really good for people who are beginners with tapestry crochet. Tapestry crochet is great because you get to do these really cool patterns, but you don't have to have just tons and tons and tons of ends to weave in, which is great. None of us want to have tons of ends to weave in because that's just no fun. And so if you're a beginner, if you've never done tapestry crochet before, don't worry. I go over the steps. It's not a difficult technique, and doing it in the round is the easiest way to do it, and it's a lot of fun. You get these really cool patterns, and it should be a really great place to start if you've never done tapestry crochet before. All right, let's get started. All right, so before I get started showing you the pattern for the fall pumpkin hat, let me go over the materials you will need. You don't need too many for this hat, which is really nice. The main thing you need is 3 different colors of yarn. And you want all of these different colors to be the same type of yarn. It makes laundering the hat and the tension and everything much easier. So for the base color, which will make up the bulk of the hat, I chose the Impeccable by Loops and Threads yarn in the shade Heather. I really like this yarn. It's Loops and Threads is Michael's store brand yarn, and they actually have a really nice line of different types of things. And one of the reasons I really like it is because it goes on sale all the time. Now, if you can't find this or don't like working with it, Red Heart Super Saver is pretty much the exact same type of yarn. It is a weight 4, 100% acrylic yarn. It works really well, it launders really well, and I like it. So for the base of the hats that I just showed you, I actually used the shade Soft Taupe. It's a little bit darker, but I couldn't really decide between this color and this color. So I made up some hats in this color, and then I decided for the pattern I would show the lighter color. This might show up a little bit easier. So beyond the base color of the hat, you're going to need a base color for the pumpkin. I chose the same yarn. You get a much better like I said, tension and everything if you choose the same kind. And this is actually in the shade Pumpkin, so that's perfect. This will make several hats. It'll make pumpkins for several hats. The main limiter is going to be your base color. That'll make, with at least the Impeccable skein, it'll probably make 2 adult hats. This, regardless of how many hats you're doing, will make several. And then you're going to need a color for the pumpkin stems. You will not be using very much of this, so you get a separate color I got mine in Deep Forest, the same Impeccable Loops and Threads brand. But you don't need very much of it. I mean, you could make a whole ton of hats. So this will last you a long time. So if you have a similar acrylic, if you have a 100% acrylic weight 4 yarn, you could probably just use a little tiny bit of it if you have some laying around. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it in these colors. You could have your pumpkins be all one color if you want to just get 2 different types of yarn, just the base color and then maybe brown for the pumpkin or all orange or whatever color you want it to be. You could also potentially do a black base with a really bright green pumpkin. That would make a really cool Halloween hat. But so you'll need, but the main idea is you need 3 different colors of yarn for at least the pattern that I'm going to be showing you today. But again, you could instead choose to remove the green color for the stems and just use whatever color you're using for the pumpkin base. So the only other things you're going to need a 4mm crochet hook. That's also known as a G hook. You can also use a slightly larger hook or a slightly smaller hook if you're finding that you need it to be larger or smaller. I wouldn't go much lower than a G with this type of yarn, but if you get a yarn that's like weight 3 maybe, you could definitely go down a couple sizes. But the size I'm going to show you today is for the women's hat. And if for some reason you're finding that that's a little too tight, you might want to use an H hook with it or even a J hook. If it's too loose, you may want to go down a hook or maybe down a yarn size. So the only other thing you're going to need besides the yarn and the hook is a tapestry needle or a yarn needle. This is just for weaving in the ends when you're done with the project. Fortunately with this, there aren't too many ends to weave in because we're going to be taking the yarn with us as we go, so that's not too bad. All right, once you have your materials assembled, we'll get started. All right, so round 1 is pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to make our slip knot, or I don't even know the way I do it is correct. I literally just take the hook and I twist it to make a little quote-unquote slip knot. But you can make an actual slip knot, it doesn't really matter. And then you're going to chain 4. All right, we have our chain 4. You could also do a magic circle, but I am really bad at those, so I choose to start mine this way. But you could always do the magic circle route if you prefer to do it that way. It doesn't matter which way you go. So then we're going to slip stitch into the 4th chain from the hook. All right, and then we have this little tiny space in here. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be our first, that's going to count as our first double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet 9 more into the middle right here. So if you're doing the magic circle, just do a magic circle with 10 double crochets in the middle. So we're going to work those going through. Usually for this little tail here, I usually will crochet over it maybe once or twice, and then I'll put it to the side. Because I find that if you crochet around it too much, it gets kind of in the way. And if you lose count, it's pretty easy to tell how many you've got in here. Let's see, this is my... All right, so now that you have 10 double crochet total, including the chain 3, so it's going to be a chain 3 and 9 double crochet, you are going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the chain 3. And that will complete the round. So that is round 1 complete. If I can, actually get this in there. All right, there we go. That is round 1. Doesn't look like a whole lot yet, but it will. So moving on to round 2, we're going to be increasing. So we're going to be putting 2 double crochet in every double crochet from the previous round. So the first round had 10 double crochet. The second round will have 20. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and every round in this entire pattern, except for a couple near the end, we'll start with a chain 3 for the first double crochet. So we chain 3, and then we're gonna double crochet into the same stitch, which can be fun sometimes, depending on how tightly you crochet. The gauge for this project is 9 rows of 9, or no, what is it? 4 rows of 9 double crochet is a 2" by 2" square. So maybe try that and see if you are tighter or looser than that, and that might give you a better idea of if you need to go up or down a hook size. All right, so those are our first 2 double crochet, and then we're going to double crochet 2 into the next one, and we're going to continue that around until we get to the end. So I will meet you at the end of this round. All right, we have reached the end of round 2, and like all the other rounds, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. So these first several rounds are fairly simple. We'll start to do the pattern around round 10 will be the first pattern round. So before then, it's just kind of simple, increasing until we get to that point. So for round 3, as usual, 1, 2, 3, we're going to chain 3, and then we are going to increase again, but this time we are going to be doing every other stitch will be an increase. So we did our chain 3, and now we're going to double crochet into the same stitch. This one always gives me trouble. I don't know why, but it does. Just one of those things. I crochet fairly tightly. I think that's why. All right, so we have 2 double crochet in the same stitch here. And then we are going to just do 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And in the next stitch, we'll be doing 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. And in the next stitch, we'll be doing 1 double crochet. And so this pattern is going to repeat all the way until the end, and you should have 30 double crochet total, including the beginning chain 3. So we're going to continue this pattern all around, and I will meet you at the end of the round. All right, we are now at the end of round 3, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain of the chain 3. All right, so for round 4, we're actually going to be doing the exact same thing, and this will give us 45 stitches. Our eventual goal is we want to have multiples of 15. So the pattern is worked in a section of 15 stitches, and this gives us a lot of flexibility in the sizing of the hat. So we can figure out how many pattern repeats we want and what size hat we need. So for round 4, we will start with our chain 3, and then we will double crochet into the same stitch. I'm really liking having long nails for this part. It's always such a pain in the butt for me. It's a pain in the butt for you, let me know, because I always love commiserating. Or finding that I'm just weird and I'm doing it like the hard way. See, yeah. It does not like me sometimes. I don't know why. All right, there we go. All right, so we have our 2 stitches, and then we're going to double crochet 1 into the next stitch, and then 2 into the stitch after and then one more in the stitch after that, and we are going to repeat this all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 4. All right, here we are at the end of round 4. It's starting to get a lot larger. Now, if you are doing a hat like for a doll or for a small child, potentially with a larger yarn, you may want to stop after this round because we have 3 repeats of 15. Although I'd probably suggest that you stop after the next round of increases for a child's hat. If at least you're doing it with the same hook and weight of yarn, because I think this might be just a little too small, even for a child, even for a little baby. But that's up to you, and it's up to what type of yarn you're using, what type of hook you're using. But as long as you have repeats of 15, you'll be fine doing the pattern. So we're going to end round 4 with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain of our chain 3, and we will begin round 5. So round 5, where it's also an increasing round, it's only a little bit different than the previous 2 rounds. 2, 3, we're going to do a chain 3, and like usual, we're going to place another double crochet into the same stitch. If it will stop fighting me, that would be great. All right. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next each of the next 2 stitches. So we have 2 double crochet in one, then we'll do a single double crochet in the next stitch and a single double crochet in the stitch after that. And then we're going to do 2 double crochet into this next stitch. One double crochet into the stitch after that, and 1 double crochet into the stitch after that. So you're going to have a little section that'll be 2 double crochet in one, then 1 double crochet, then 1 double crochet, and then it's going to repeat like that all the way around until you have 60 double crochet. All right, and while you're doing that, I will meet you at the end of round 5. All right, now we are at the end of round 5, and we have 60 stitches total. This would be a great place to stop for a child's hat. This should be big enough for most children. Of course, you may have to have a larger yarn, larger hook, or possibly a smaller yarn and a smaller hook. It really does depend, so you may have to do a little bit of trial and error with this, but this should be a good place to stop for a child's hat. If you are doing a child's hat, you're going to want to skip to round 8, which will just be a repeat of the double crochets. But for the women's hat, we are going to continue on to round 6. But first we need to join our round 5 with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain of the chain 3. And as usual, it wants to give me grief because I crochet a little tightly and it doesn't like me, but it turns out fairly well for me. All right, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, do our chain 3. And for round 6, we'll be doing another slight increase. Be similar to round 5, except that we're going to be doing a single DC in 3 stitches instead of 2. But first, we're going to put another double crochet into the same stitch as the chain 3 to get our little group of 2 double crochet. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 2 and 3. So once again, we're going to be doing 2 double crochet in 1 stitch, then 1 double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, and 1 double crochet in the next. So it's going to be a group of 2 double crochet in one stitch, and then 3 double crochet, or 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So this is the grouping right here. You see the 2 and then the 3 singles. And we're going to be doing that all the way around until we have 75 double crochet, and I will meet you at the end of round 6. All right, we are now at the end of round 6. There should be a total of 75 double crochet. We are going to join with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain of our chain 3. Now, the next row, row 7, is actually only for men's hats, or if you're using a smaller yarn, it can also be for women's hat or whatever size hat you want. But for this yarn, we're going to be skipping round 7. Now, round 7, if you're doing a men's hat, is very similar to the last round, except you're going to be doing 2 double crochet in one stitch and then 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So you'll have a total of 90 double crochet. And you can repeat this pattern of increases, making sure that you have an extra 15 stitches each time until you get the diameter that you want, in case you need a really large hat, or if you have a very small yarn or a small hook. You can keep increasing this way because the pattern is worked in clusters of 15 double crochet. So it makes it really easy to increase and decrease this pattern. So the next round that we will be doing for the women's hat is actually round 8, which is really, really simple. It is just a round of double crochet all the way around, 1 double crochet in each stitch. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. And then we're just going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way around until we get to the end of round 8. And I will meet you at the end of round 8. All right, now we are at the end of round 8. And because we're no longer increasing, you can start to see that it's starting to look a little bit like a hat. So we're going to join as usual with the 3rd chain of the chain 3. Now, round 9 is also only for men's hats, or again, if you are using a different yarn or hook, if you need a little additional length to your hat. So round 9 is actually just going to be a repeat of round 8, just another round of double crochet. But for the women's hat, we will be skipping round 9 and going on to round 10. All right, so now we are on to row 10, and we will finally be starting to form the pumpkin. So, like with the other rounds, we're going to start off with a chain 3, and this will be our first double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet into the next 5 stitches, just 1 double crochet in each stitch. And then we will be joining our stem color. 3, 4, 5, and 6, because this one counts as the first double crochet. So 1, 2, so 1, 2, can't see it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is the 6th one. But we are only going to go through these first 2 loops. We are not going to go through these last 2 loops with this color because we are going to join our stem color. So we're going to bring this color forward just for right now, And then we are going to introduce our stem color, which is this lovely deep forest green. And so we're going to actually take this color through these last 2 loops. And this gives us a nice seamless color transition. So then we will be doing 3 double crochet with this stem color. And what you want to do with the base color is you actually want to encapsulate this with your stitches. And we're going to be doing this with whichever yarn we're not currently using. It'll be encapsulated beneath the stitches being worked. So let's do our 3 stem double crochet with the green. So we're going to go through here, and notice we're going over the top of this heather color. And we're going to bring this up and do just a regular double crochet with the green. And this is caught underneath this double crochet here, like you can see. Let's do another one of those. Still encapsulating the heather color. Just like that. And then one more. And because this stitch will be the last one before transitioning to the base color again, we'll go through the first 2 stitches here, but we won't go through these last 2 stitches with the green color. Instead, we're going to bring this color forward, and we're going to take our heather color, and we're going to bring it through these 2 stitches. Again, we have a nice seamless color transition. Makes it look really nice, and it's actually fairly easy to do. So if you've been intimidated by tapestry crochet in the past, don't worry, it's actually much easier than you think. All right, so from here we're going to do 6 more double crochet with our heather color. So 1, 2, and while we are doing these, we are encapsulating the green color now underneath our base color. 3, 4, 5, and then 6. All right, so this is our first set of 15 stitches, and we're going to repeat the same pattern all the way around. So it's going to be 6 double crochet with the base color, 3 double crochet with the stem color, and then another 6 double crochet with our base color. So since we're starting our next round of 15, we're going to do 6 more with the base color. If it helps, you can always put stitch markers every 15 stitches so you know where the sections start. And that's really helpful. Or if you actually pick up a copy of the written pattern, the graph actually shows you where all the stitches are. So if that makes it easier seeing a visual representation, you may want to go check out the written pattern. But otherwise, you can just follow the number of stitches, make sure you're counting correctly, and you should be fine. So we're going to do our next section. We have 6 double crochet with our base color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then of course on the 6th one, we do not want to completely go through the last 2. We just want to do the first 2. And you do want to count to make sure you have the right number of stitches. I do that just in case. And we've been encapsulating this as we go. But if you get a little too low, sometimes it'll look like this in the back. Just go ahead and you can just pull on your thread, and that will come back and look a little less obvious on the back side. So we're going to pull that forward. We're going to pull through our green, and then we're going to do 3 stitches with our stem color. In this case, it is the green. 1, 2, and 3. And since this is a transition, I'm going to pull this color forward and pull through with the base color. Now, one thing you'll notice is these are starting to get tangled, and that's pretty typical with tapestry crochet. Every so often, you're just going to have to unwind these colors to make it look, or not make it look, but make it a little bit easier to handle. And there you go. It's not too difficult. And then to finish off this section of 15, we're going to do 6 more double crochet with our base color, making sure to encapsulate this green thread underneath it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, and so that pattern will repeat until the end. It'll repeat 3 more times for the women's hat, and I will meet you at the end of round 10. All right, so when we get to the last section for round 10, we aren't going to need the stem color again until much later, so you can go ahead and snip this off and put aside your stem color until we work on the brim of the hat, which will be much later in the process. And then you'll just finish off round 10 with the base color. And you don't have to worry about encapsulating this part anymore, this other color. We're just going to leave that on the back side to be woven in later. So just take your base color and go ahead and do 6 more double crochet, and then we will finish off the round as usual. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then finish or join the round, join to the 3rd chain of the chain 3 with a slip stitch, and we will have finished off round 10. All right, so now we're going to move on to round 11. And this is the round where we get to start using the orange color. We get to start making our pumpkins. And you will be using the orange color quite a bit more than you will be using the stem color. So you will be taking a color around quite a bit through this hat. So to start off round 11, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we will be chaining, stitching 2 double crochet, 1, 2, 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. But on this last double crochet here, we're not going to go through these last 2 loops because we are going to be joining our orange color or our pumpkin color, whatever color you actually decide to use for your pumpkin. All right, I'm going to be joining that like we did with the green before. Take that, going through the last 2 stitches, and make sure you are holding on to your base color because we will still be needing that. We'll be bringing that along with us. And then we're going to start doing some double crochets with our pumpkin color. We're going to be double crocheting into the next 9 double crochets. So we're going to make 9 stitches with the orange color, and then we will be transitioning back to the base color. And this will be fairly similar for the next 5 rounds. 2, 3, 4. Oops. The only issue I have with this yarn is that it sometimes gets a little splitty. If you don't know what that means, it just means that your hook will sometimes go through
the fibers of the yarn. It's not usually that big of a problem, but it can be a little bit of a pain sometimes, but nothing too hard to deal with. It tends to happen a lot more if you're using a smaller hook than the yarn calls for, and I am using a slightly smaller hook, so it's not exactly unexpected. All right, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And as usual, we will not go through these last 2 loops with our orange color. Make sure count, make sure you have the right number of stitches. Bring this color forward and bring the base color through those last 2 loops, and then you'll bring this color down and you will be encapsulating it under 6 double crochet with your base color. There'll actually be 3 stitches for this section of 15. So it'll be 3 stitches of the base color and then 3 more stitches for the next set of 15. Total of 6. So you'll see what I mean. So 2 and then 3. So this is the first section of 15. 3 double crochet of the base color, 9 double crochet of the pumpkin color, and 3 double crochet of the base color. The next set of 15 will also start with 3 double crochet of the base color. So this little section in the middle here for this round is going to be a total of 6 of these, but it's best to think of it in sections of 15. That's how this is crocheted. And it makes it a little bit easier to remember it. So in this section with 3 double crochet, and then the next section starts with 3 double crochet of the base color. 2 and 3. Make sure we have the right number. Yep. And then we will bring that forward, bring through our orange. We will untangle this a little bit because that's something you have to do quite a bit when doing tapestry crochet. And then we will be working 9 double crochet with the pumpkin color. I'm always checking how many I made. I always count and recount because I get really distracted a lot of times when I'm crocheting. I'm watching something. This actually is a fairly good project to do while you're watching something. It's not too complicated. If you have the pattern in front of you, you just have to make sure you have the right numbers. But that's why it's great to do it in sections of 15, because it's easy just to check the numbers per section. All right, and to finish off this section, we will pull through our base color and do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, oops, 2, and 3. All right, so this section of 15 again is 3 double crochet of the base color, 9 of the pumpkin color, and 3 of the base color. So we're going to work that all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 11. All right, now we are at the end of round 11, and we are actually going to be taking this pumpkin color along with us. So unlike with the stem where we fastened it off and we dropped this color, we're actually going to keep taking this orange along with us. So we're going to finish this round with 3 double crochet with the base color, and then I'll show you how we take this color into the next round. It's actually not super complicated, but I can understand why it could seem a little daunting to someone who hasn't done tapestry crochet before. So don't even worry about it. So what you want to do is you want to start to join it like normal through the third chain of our chain 3, if I can get it in there. And then you want to make sure that this color, the orange color that we're not using, or whichever color we're not using, is actually over this hook. So we want to make sure that we can encapsulate that in our chain 3. It's going to look like that. All right, and then we do 1, 2, 3 for our chain 3, and our basically which counts as our starting double crochet, and that is how it is encapsulated. Easy peasy, right? And we'll be doing this several more times, so you have a lot of chances to practice that. You just want to make sure that you don't have it just hanging out back here. If you do notice that happen and you've already done a lot more work on the hat, it's not a big deal. It's on the inside of the hat, so it's really not going to matter. But hopefully you should have more chances to practice it, and you should be able to get the hang of it pretty quickly. So for round 12, we are going to do 1 more double crochet with the base color. And because we're going to be transitioning, we're not even going to do a full double crochet with the base color. We're going to bring that color forward, and we're going to go through the last 2 loops with our pumpkin color. And then we will be crocheting 11 double crochet with the pumpkin color. We're making our pumpkin a little bit bigger. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right, I have to untangle my yarn a little bit. You will be doing this the entire time, I promise you. And we're going to bring our pumpkin color forward and bring through our base color through these last 2 loops. And we will be doing 2 double crochet of the base color to finish off our 15 stitch pattern. So 1 and 2. And there will be a total of 4 double crochet of the base color in the middle section between 2 pumpkins. But for this 15 stitch section, it is 2 double crochet in the base color, 11 double crochet in the pumpkin color, and 2 double crochet in the base color. So we'll do that one more time. So 1 and 2. Bring this forward and switch to the pumpkin color and do 11 stitches. All right, and that is our 15 double crochet section. 2 of the base color, 11 of the pumpkin color, and 2 more of the base color. You're going to repeat that 3 more times all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 12. All right, we are at the end of round 12. We're going to finish it off with 2 double crochet of the base color, and then we will join with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain of the chain 3. There are 2 double crochet, and like we did before, we're going to just go through this 3rd chain like normal, as long as it doesn't want to fight us. And then make sure that this is over this way. It can be all the way back here, it can be up here, as long as it's not on the other side. and then bring this through. It just has to be in between this and the loop. So it just needs to be right here. So you don't want it to be back here. I mean, it'll still work, it just won't look quite as nice. So you want it to be in between there. New 1, 2, 3. All right. When we get back, we will start with round 13. Okay, we are going to start round 13. Now this one actually starts just slightly differently. We're still going to do a chain 3, but we're only going to do 2 chains with the base color, and we're actually going to do the 3rd chain with the pumpkin color because we'll need to be putting a stitch of the pumpkin color right here. So we're going to do 1, 2, bring this forward, and then the 3rd chain will be with the pumpkin color. It'll still look normal. It'll still look like there's the regular 3 chains here of the base color. This is just to do our transition. So then we will do a double crochet into the next stitch with the pumpkin color. And we'll be doing a total of 13 double crochet in the pumpkin color. And then we'll be doing only 1 additional double crochet with the base color. So this will be the longest section of the pumpkin before we start bringing the pumpkin back in on the next rows. Count to make sure we have the right number, which we do. We have 13 double crochet with the pumpkin color, and then we'll do a single double crochet with the base color. All right, so this is the 15 stitch section. It'll be 1 double crochet in the base color, 13 double crochet of the pumpkin color, and 1 double crochet in the base color. And there will only be 2 double crochet in the base color in between the 2 pumpkins on this row. So once more, going through this section, do 1 double crochet of the base color, and we'll bring that forward, bring through the pumpkin color, and we will double crochet 13 in this pumpkin color. All right, so this is the second section of 15, and again that'll be 1 double crochet in the base color, 13 in the pumpkin color, and 1 more in the base color. And that is going to repeat 3 more times until we get to the end of this round, and I will meet you there. All right, we are at the end of round 13, and like usual we will join this round to the 3rd chain of the chain 3 from the beginning of the round. Oh, and look, I didn't bring that forward, so that's in an awkward space. So that's why we want to make sure that that's in the proper position when we join. So go back, make sure that this is on top of this and not too forward or too back. And then it's right where we want it to be. All right. So for round 14, we're going to chain 3 with the base color. And then we're just going to repeat round 12. So the next several rounds will seem very familiar because we're just repeating a whole bunch of the earlier rounds. So for round 14, I'm going to chain 1 more double crochet, we're going to pull that forward, pull through the pumpkin color, and then we are going to stitch 11 total double crochet with the pumpkin color. Sounds familiar, right? Because it's exactly what we did at round 12. All right. All right, and once we have done our 11 double crochet in the pumpkin color, we will do 2 double crochet in the base color to finish out this section of 15. So just like round 12, the section is 2 double crochet of the base color, 11 double crochet of the pumpkin color, and 2 double crochet of the base color. You're going to repeat that 4 more times around, and I will meet you at the end of round 14. All right, we are at the end of round 14. I'm going to join as usual to the 3rd chain of the chain 3. Making sure that this pumpkin color is where it belongs, so we don't have the problem like we did last round. All right, and then we will chain 3 with the base color to start round 15. Round 15 will also be familiar because it is just repeating round 11. I'll go over the first section of that again with you. So we're going to do 2 more double crochet with the base color. 1 and 2. Oops. Bring the base color forward, bring through the pumpkin color through those last 2 loops, and then we're going to do 9 double crochet with the pumpkin color. All right, bring this pumpkin color forward, bring the base color through the 2 loops on the hook, and do 3 double crochet with the base color to finish off this section of 15. All right, so this 15 stitch section is 3 double crochet of the base color, 9 double crochet of the pumpkin color, and 3 more double crochet of the base color. It's the same as round 11, and we are going to repeat this 15 stitch section 4 more times until we get to the end of round 15, and I will meet you there. All right, we are at the end of round 15. And once you're done with the last stitches of your pumpkin, you're actually going to snip off the pumpkin color. We will need it later in the pattern, but right now, go ahead and snip that off, and you can set your pumpkin color aside. And then we're just going to finish off this round with 3 double crochet of the base color, and we will join to the 3rd chain of the chain 3 as usual. All right, and that was round 15. Our pumpkins have now been formed. And now we have some finishing steps for this hat. We have a few more rows to do, and we have a really nice, cute little pattern to do for the brim of the hat. All right, so now we are on round 16. Both round 16 and 17 are exactly the same. We're just going to be doing 2 rounds of double crochet with the base color. So 1, 2, 3 to do our chain 3, And then we're just going to double crochet around. Pretty simple. All right, so we're going to double crochet around to finish row 16, join, double crochet around for round 17, and then I will meet you at the end of round 17. So make sure to do 2 rounds of double crochet with your base color. All right, we are at the end of round 17. So we did round 16 and 17, just 2 rounds of double crochet in the base color. We're going to join to the 3rd chain of the chain 3, and we will start round 18. So round 18 will start to form the brim of the hat. So we're first going to start this round like we do all the other rounds. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and that will be our first double crochet. Next, we're going to be working double crochet all the way around this round, but we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. We're also going to be adding in another color. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be double crocheting into the 3rd loop of each stitch around. So the 3rd loop, so you see these 2 loops here up at the top. There is this 1st loop, there's this 2nd loop, and then if you turn it over, there's this 3rd loop right here, if you can see that. And we're going to be crocheting into it. So I have my stitch, I have yarned over, and then I'm going to be turning this over, and I'm going to be inserting it into this loop right here, like that. So you see there's the 2 loops on top, and then this is the 3rd loop on the back. And then I'm going to be doing a double crochet through that loop. So that's what's known as the 3rd loop. So if a pattern ever calls for you to do a stitch into the 3rd loop, it is going to be that back loop back there. So we're going to do 2 more double crochet in the base color into the 3rd loop of these 2 stitches. So we have our 3rd double crochet going into this 3rd loop right here. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to make sure you have all of the strands of the yarn on it, but it just takes a little practice and you can usually get it done pretty easily. What I like to do is kind of lay it on the back of this area here, and then you can usually slip in pretty easily. All right, so that is our 3rd double crochet, and then our 4th double crochet into the 3rd loop. We will not be going through these last 2 loops on the hook with the base color. We're actually going to be reattaching the green color. I said it would make an appearance again. You're not going to be using a whole lot of it because we're just going to be forming the stems of some little tiny pumpkins for the brim of our hat. So go ahead and attach that. And all we're going to be doing is a single double crochet with this green color, with the stem color. So whatever your stem color is, that's what we're going to be using. And now keep in mind, you still do have to encapsulate the yarn when you're doing the 3rd loop. So go ahead, find the 3rd loop. Make sure you have got this strand of yarn underneath the green one, or whatever stem color you have. Pull that through the first 2 loops. And then since we're only doing a single stitch in the stem color, I'm going to pull that forward and pull through the base color. Poor little green doesn't get a whole lot of time to shine, but it will every 5 stitches you will be doing a double crochet in the stem color. So again, we're going to be doing 4 double crochet into the 3rd loop with the base color. We have 1, and then we have 2. And I know this can seem a little tedious, but it is so worth it because you get a really nice looking little pattern for the brim of your hat. Now, if you decide that this is just too much work, you can do just the base color, it'll still look really nice. If you don't even want to do this part where you're crocheting into the third loop, you can just do a couple extra rows until you have the length you want, and that would be perfectly fine too. It just kind of depends on how you want to go about it. But in order to make it the way that I have the pattern written, this is what we're doing. All right, and that's the 4th double crochet in the base color. We're going to bring that yarn forward, and we're going to pull through the stem color and do a double crochet in the stem color. And that's done very quickly, and there we go. So we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around. You're going to wind up ending with a green or a stem color double crochet. And then you will fasten, or you'll snip off this yarn at the end of the round, and I'll show you that. All right, so we're going to repeat 4 double crochet of the base color and 1 double crochet of the stem color all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 18. All right, we are at the end of round 18. Now, instead of bringing this green forward, we're actually just going to leave it in the back, and we're going to bring our base color through these 2 loops, and then we're going to snip off this green color, and we are done with our stem color. You can go ahead and set your stem color aside. You will not need it for the rest of the project. And then we are going to join, like we usually do, to the 3rd chain of the chain 3. And there we go. So there we have our first round for the brim of the hat. You can start to see this little the brim here. We're going to do this technique again at the end of the brim, and it gives it a really nice little look. So for round 19, we are going to start like we usually do. 1, 2, 3 to do the chain 3 as our first double crochet. And then we're going to do 3 more double crochet of the base color. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And on this last double crochet here, we're not going to go through these 2 loops because we are going to be attaching our pumpkin color, and we are going to make a whole bunch of little tiny pumpkins for the brim of our hat. And it's actually a lot easier than you might think. So go ahead and attach your pumpkin color. There we go. And we're going to be doing what is known as a bobble stitch. So you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook. You're going to yarn over. You're going to insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, pull your yarn through 2 loops on the hook. And then instead of going through these 2 loops, we're going to yarn over, go back through the stitch, pull a loop up, go through 2 loops on the hook, and we're going to repeat this 3 more times, and we'll actually wind up with 6 loops on this hook here. So we have 3, 4, and 5. Now in this first bobble, you may have to pull it a little bit tighter with this green color here, just because it is where you attached your green, so just be aware of that. Now the tricky part here is, because you're going to be transitioning back to the base color, you actually don't want to pull through with the pumpkin color. So go ahead and pull that pumpkin color forward, and you'll be pulling the base color yarn through all 6 loops on the hook. And there we go. There is our first bobble. So again, we're going to be doing 4 double crochet into in the base color, and it's just going to be 1 double crochet into each of these 4 from the row below. So it's actually really easy to know where your stitches are going to go. It's our second double crochet, our third, and make sure you are still encapsulating this color underneath as you bring it along with you. And then 4, and then like usual for at this 4th one, bring the base color forward, pull through with the pumpkin color, and then we're going to do a bobble. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then remember, bring this pumpkin color forward, and then you will be using the base color to pull through all 6 loops on the hook. And there you go. So this is round 19. We will be doing 4 double crochet in the base color, then a bobble stitch in the pumpkin color, and we'll repeat that. So 4 double crochet, bobble, 4 double crochet, bobble. It's 4 double crochet in the base color, and then the bobble is in the pumpkin color. And a really easy way to know where the stitches go is just that the 4 base color go into the 4 base color of the row below, and the bobble always goes into the stem color. All right, we are going to repeat this around until we get to the end of round 19, and I will meet you there. All right, we are at the end of round 19. So like with the previous round, instead of bringing this pumpkin color forward, we're actually going to leave it back, and then we're going to bring the base color through all 6 loops on the hook, and then we can snip off this pumpkin color here. There we go. And then we are done with the pumpkin color for the rest of this pattern. We will just be working in the base color for the last 2 rows of this pattern. So we're going to go ahead and join to the 3rd chain of our chain 3 to complete round 19. And then we will begin round 20. So round 20 is fairly easy. It's one of the few rounds that is slightly different because it is half double crochet instead of double crochet. So instead of a chain 3, we are going to do a chain 2. The reason we are doing half double crochet instead of double crochet is because we did these in the 3rd loop, they actually look shorter. And so we're going to do half double crochet so that it matches with these double crochet down here. So we're going to just do half double crochet for this entire round, and making sure to go into the bobbles as well. On this first bobble, you may want to pull the pumpkin color a little tight from the back just so that it doesn't get loose. And then we're just going to continue on doing half double crochet through this entire round. All right, that's all we're going to do on round 20, and I will meet you at the end. All right, so we are at the end of round 20. We are going to finish it off by doing a slip stitch into the 2nd chain of the chain 2 at the beginning of the round. And we will begin round 21 with a chain 1 and a single crochet into the same stitch where we just did that chain 1. As long as it doesn't want to fight me too much. It always wants to fight me. I crochet very tightly, and then it's like, nope, I'm not gonna work for you. All right, there we go. So I have that single crochet in there. And then we're going to do a single crochet in every stitch around, but we are going to single crochet into the 3rd loop of each chain like we did in round 18. So we have our 2 loops, and then we're going to turn it over and find that 3rd loop. Yeah, if we can find that. There we go. All right, we got 1, then we net the next 3rd loop, and then these are the 2 main loops. Turn that over, and there's the 3rd loop. And once more, find the 3rd loop, and there we go. And we're just going to single crochet into the 3rd loop all the way around for round 21, and I will meet you at the end of round 21 where we will finish our hat. I'll see you there. All right, we are at the end of round 21. We are just going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, and then we are going to take our scissors and snip off our base color and just pull your yarn through to fasten off, and we are done crocheting our pumpkin hat, our fall pumpkin hat. There you go. Now all you need to do is weave in the ends. There are about, I think there are 10 ends total that you need to weave in. There's only 2 of the base color, one down here and one right up top. And they're all in a very similar location, so it's not too hard to find. And there you go. There is the fall pumpkin hat. I hope you enjoyed making this. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and leave them down below. Thanks.
All right, so that was the tutorial for the fall pumpkin hat. It was really fun making this video, and it really taught me a lot. I hope that you maybe learned some things. I hope you had fun making the fall pumpkin hat. If you want just a little bit more information on the sizing, or if you'd like to see a graph of it, the full pattern for purchase has a little bit more information. But if you just have some questions or whatever, just leave them down below. I have no problem answering questions. But if you want to support me, it's just a couple dollars for the written pattern, or my Ko-fi is down in the description as well. This is my current setup, if you can see the picture. Because my husband's working from home, I can't film at our regular table. So I'm sitting there hunched over trying to crochet, and my arms around the tripod and everything. So if you decide to support me, my first purchase is going to be a card table, so it'll make it a little bit easier. But don't worry, regardless, I will still keep making crochet tutorials. I plan to do a tutorial every few months. I already have 2 other patterns in the works, and tutorials and all that, so they'll be fun seasonal projects that I'm having a lot of fun designing, and hopefully you guys will have a lot of fun making. If you would like to like and subscribe, that's of course very helpful, an easy way to support the channel. But whatever you choose, thank you so much for watching. That in and of itself is really, really great, and I really appreciate it. But I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This was my first time doing a crochet tutorial, and especially this was my first time doing a crochet tutorial of my own pattern. So if there's any, if you have any comments or questions or critiques about this, please let me know. I'm still learning how to film these and how to write crochet patterns. I've done a lot of research on it, but of course I'm still newer at it. I've been crocheting a very long time, but pattern making is always a new experience. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you have a lot of fun crocheting. Bye.